Why would an infinite God with infinite resources use the same designs in biology? To appreciate the challenge that this represents for the Christian faith, we need to understand a little bit about what many people think to be the most compelling evidence for biological evolution. That would be the shared designs that are found in organisms that naturally group together. Many people see these shared designs, called homologies, as evidence for an evolutionary history for life on Earth. They see this as evidence for shared evolutionary ancestry. They see this as evidence for common design. Now, as an old Earth creationist, I'm skeptical that evolutionary processes can fully account for the origin and the design and the history of life on Earth. And there are good reasons for my skepticism. However, one thing I have to do is to account for homologies, for, again, what many people see to be compelling evidence for biological evolution. Well, the way I make sense of these shared designs is that they are that very thing. They are designs that exist in the mind of God, and archetypical designs that exist in God's mind that are functionally expressed in the created order. In other words, these shared designs reflect the archetypes that exist in God's mind, not evolutionary ancestry. That they are evidence for common design, not common descent. And when I present this argument, many times people respond with this question: well, why would an infinite God with infinite resources limit himself to just a few designs in biology? Well, to answer that question, let's ask another question. What would it be like if that infinite creator with infinite resources indeed created each organism to be unique and distinct? That is, each organism has its own biochemistry, its own cell biology, its own developmental biology, its own anatomy and physiology. That type of world would render biology as being a myopic scientific discipline. Yes, indeed, biology would exist as a discipline, but what we learn when we study one organism would only apply to that organism. We couldn't take that insight and broadly apply it across all of life. But because organisms have shared designs, what we learn from one organism can help us understand everything that we see in the living realm. For example, we can study the biochemistry of yeast, the cell biology of yeast, and use that insight and directly apply it to the biochemistry and the cell biology of human cells. That we can study the genetics of a fruit fly and take that insight and apply it to human genetics. That we can study the developmental biology of chickens and apply that insight to human development. You get the idea. In other words, shared designs make biology possible as a robust scientific discipline and makes the biological realm comprehensible to us. It makes it intelligible to us. So why would an infinite God with infinite resources limit himself to a small number of designs in biology? Because that creator wants us to be able to discover the biological realm, to make sense of the biological realm. And this, of course, is reasonable if we think that this God has revealed himself to us through the record of nature, that we can see evidence for God's fingerprints clearly in biology because biology is possible as a scientific discipline. And there's another reason as well that God would use shared designs to create living organisms. These shared designs reflect part of God's providential care for humanity, because not only can we take what we learn from biology and use it to develop biotechnologies, but we can also use this as a way to treat medical conditions. For example, recently, researchers have made significant progress in xenotransplantation, where they can take the kidneys and the hearts from genetically engineered pigs and transplant them into human beings. And they're able to do this because the anatomy and the physiology, the size of the pig organs match the anatomy, physiology, and size of human organs. This is only possible because of shared designs in biology. If you want to know more about how the Christian faith relates to evolution, I invite you to consider reading the book, Thinking About Evolution. This is a book that I participated in writing.